Coach, could you first start off by addressing the news that had emanated out Saturday night after the game about Coach Ivan Jasper, and just tell us your current situation with your coaching staff, please?
Well, obviously, it's a tough loss. You know, Saturday to lose to your rivals is always tough. To lose the Air Force and like that. I mean, it's just a tough, start of a tough loss, Wags. I don't think Mr. Gladchuk was too happy the way things transpired, and he's the leader of our department. And, he made a decision after the game that, he was going to, let Coach Jasper go. And, again, none of us were happy. A lot of emotions after the game, to lose to a rival like that. We didn't play well on offense. But there's been some discussion since then. I've met with him, and we just talked more about the situation. There's just been more things that have transpired since then. Is that the right thing to do? I mean, we still got a lot to play for. Coach Jasper has meant so much to this program. Obviously, we're not playing well now on offense, but the things that he's done for this school and for this program over the years has been monumental. You just look at all the guys that he's done. I mean, 2 NFL players, all the record books, rushing quarterback records. Coach Jasper pretty much owns his quarterbacks pretty much own them all. And more importantly, I mean, he's beloved by people. I mean, he's beloved by his players, beloved by, he's a great developer of quarterback, but also of men, guys that are serving our fleet in our Navy Marine Corps. So there just been more discussions about that. Is that the route we want to go? And so where we're at right now is, I asked Mr. Gladchuk to reconsider that because, like I said, who he is, and just, my mind, I didn't agree with the situation. It's not the right thing to do. So after further consideration, but Coach, Chet wanted changes though. He doesn't like where we're at, as an offense, but which I get. I'm the head coach, and I recognize that we're struggling on offense right now. And so what we've done now is, since that time, is, I've asked him, I would love to keep Coach Jasper. I'm already heavily involved in offense. I always have been. I'm the head coach, but I've always been on the offensive side of the ball. Many times I call plays, I'm heavily involved on offense, but Coach Jasper will just, be at the program, but he'll coach the quarterbacks. And we'll continue forward, and I'll call plays. But like I said, I've called plays before. Coach Jasper has been the coordinator. I'm in there heavily involved coordinating with him. So we'll continue to collaborate with him and all the other coaches on our staff. But it was an unfortunate situation. There's some emotion involved, obviously, but we just lost a big game. It's like some things happened in the locker room, but I think cooler heads have prevailed, and so that's where we're at right now.
So just to be clear, Coach Jasper has been reinstated as a member of the staff, will coach the quarterbacks. You will, in essence, you'll take over calling plays, which you have done before, as you mentioned. But is that clear that he is Coach Jasper's back? Yes,
Coach Jasper has been reinstated.
Okay.
Which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for, and I just told Gladchuk, we're a stronger program. We have a better chance if he's with us. It's like, he's the best option coach around. We're not playing very well, and we'll get that fixed, and we're going to keep working. But losing him was not the right answer. Like I said, there's a lot of emotion going on, and but the right thing is to keep Coach Jasper here. Like I said, it's whatever. Call me the coordinator, but I've been heavily involved in offense anyway. I always have been. That's the side of the ball I've been on in all the years I've been a head coach. The defensive coordinators, I've always left them alone, whether it's Buddy Green or Dale Pearson and now Brian Newberry. I'm on the offensive side of the ball, heavily involved in everything on that side. And so I'm just as much to blame on all this too. You know what I mean? But we're going to get this right. We're not quitters, man. We've been in this profession a long time. And we recognize what this profession is about. We ain't going anywhere. We got a lot to play for, man. Still got 10 games, still got, our league play. We still got Army at the end. There's a lot to play for. Not excited about where we are offensively, not excited about being on 2, but we ain't going anywhere. We're going to keep fighting.
Kenny, is there concern about what this has done and any damage, or do you feel that you could look at this as 2 ways. It's a wake-up call shot across the bow that everybody has got to pick it up, or you could say that this has been a terrible distraction that was unnecessary.
We didn't need a wake-up call, Wags. You know what I mean? We've been doing this we do this as a living. You know what I mean? We're coaches. You know what I mean? This isn't a 9-to-5 job where you punch your card and you have to win and you have to produce. We didn't need any shot in the bow or wake-up call. I mean, no, we didn't need that. I mean, we see where we're at. We saw, now the media stuff might write about last year, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this year. And so seeing where our team is, and we're 0-2 right now, that's all I look at. Other people, I don't look at it because to me, last year is irrelevant. We're trying to get the 2021 team, and I didn't need any wake-up call for that. That's why, I don't know if this sounds egotistical or whatever, but there's a reason I've been in this profession for a long time, because I know what this profession is about. This is a freaking ruthless profession. It's ruthless, and it will spit you out in a heartbeat. I've been coaching 31 years. I know what this business is about. It's a hard business. This isn't for the faint of heart. To be a coach is not for everybody. This is a hard deal. I didn't need anybody to tell me anything. I don't think any of our coaches needed anybody to. We know we got to get better, and we want to keep fighting, and we want to keep inspiring. But I talked to our team right now. I talked to our team. We had a lot of meetings. We're at the United States Naval Academy. We're basically leaders for our country. You know what I mean? And so I've told them there's adversity all the time. You're going to be first and foremost a leader of your family. And there's going to be things that come up in your family with your marriage, your kids and stuff. Hopefully you don't run out on your family. Hopefully you keep leading. Same thing when you're a sailor and Marine, over sailors and Marines. There's going to be things you have to lead them about. And so, I talked to them last night. These are some tough times, but you have to weather them. You continue to keep, coming together as a family. It was a big enough distraction to lose to Air Force. That sucked. What a great atmosphere, and it sucked. So, it was unfortunate the other part happened, but it is what it is. We're going to deal with it, but, we didn't need it, and we didn't need a wake-up call, Wags.
I may not have worded that the way I wanted. I'm sorry. I've just retweeted that Billy Ray Stutzman has announced that he is leaving the staff or has been relieved of duties. Can you address that? Yeah,
that's whatever he said on his comments, on his, I'll leave it to his personal statement. I didn't see his personal statement, but I'll leave that for him, personal reasons and his decision. But whatever he said on that, I'll just leave it to that. But it's a big loss for us. He's added a lot to our program. We're gonna wish him the best of luck. Him and his wife, Chanel, wonderful young man, got a bright future in his profession. Smart, a good recruiter, and he's gonna do great things in this profession.
All right, I'll let someone else have a shot at the floor.
Kareem Copeland.
Hey, Ken. Not to dwell on the point, but there's a few details I was just curious about. The process of Ivan originally being let go, had you talked to Chet about that at all, or was it as much of a surprise to you as it was to the rest of us? It just seems odd for you not to be involved in that decision, that original decision.
Yeah, obviously as a head coach, you normally make those decisions with your assistants. I wasn't involved with it. I mean, there's a lot of emotion after the game. Yes, I was surprised by it. I mean, but like I said, we've had discussions after that to try to hopefully mend this. I mean, what happened? It's I mean, everybody is mad. Anybody involved in Navy football, nobody likes losing like that. We didn't like losing the Air Force, and he was very upset with the offense, and so I get it, but I was not involved with it. I was actually another part of the locker room, but it's normally not how it's done. But like I said, I guess we all live and learn.
So it sounds like you guys have had a lot of conversations since then, obviously. So was there a whole conversation about, okay, what to look at the entire staff at that point, so I guess this situation doesn't rise again?
There's a lot of discussion, all of it. I mean, obviously, our athletic director is not happy with our offense. Neither am I. I mean, I'm not happy. I mean, we're a proud offensive unit, man, that has scored many points over many years and been very prolific over the years. And to be where we're at it's not. I mean, none of us are happy. And so we had a lot of discussions, a lot of things. What's going on? What just from everything. I mean, we just had a long discussion on Sunday, just trying to figure this out. And I get it. I mean, he's the athletic director, and he wants some answers. I'm the head coach. I'm a big boy. I'm willing to, to sit down and like, hey, been doing this a long time. We'll sit down, we'll discuss things. But yeah, that's how it transpired. Like I said, I mean, it was unfortunate the way it did, and but this is hopefully, we're pressing forward. Hopefully it doesn't happen anymore like that.
You said you're going to call the plays. Ivan will continue to work with quarterbacks. Do you need someone as the official OC, or is that something that it becomes a off-season issue? After
we collaborate so much. I mean, a big part of it is, whatever, I was to take that title, but I've been heavily involved already. I mean, that's where I'm at every day on the offensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? So I've always been on offense since. That's actually why I got the job in 2008 when Paul left. You know what I mean? Just because, I mean, I learned the offense from Coach Johnson. And the next guy that knew that besides, I mean, this is Coach Johnson's offense. And obviously we've tweaked it later, but learned it from him. And, I was the next guy that knew it the best besides Coach Johnson because he taught me everything. And so it's, how do I put it? It's like, I'm doing that already. I'm on that side of the ball already. You know what I mean? It's not like things are changing. I guess I don't know how to explain it. Just I'm gonna. I was gonna say I'm more heavily involved, but I don't know how much more heavily involved I can get. That's where I spend my whole day on the offensive side of the ball. I know I'm not explaining right, but I guess I'm. But I'll still be over there, having strong opinions and strong ideas. A lot of them are ideas. A lot of them are. We collaborate a lot on offense side of the ball. There are a lot of good coaches with great ideas in there. I mean, they're really good football coaches on that side. Coach Ingram, obviously Coach Jasper, Coach O'Rourke, Coach Akitis, Coach DePay, Coach McDonald. My son Bob just joined us, helping out this year with Billy Ray's deal. But we've been in that room, that white room, for many years. We've probably spent more time in that white room than we have in these last 15 years than we have in our own living room. I mean, that's where we live. I mean, that's where we make game plans. And obviously our last couple of game plans haven't been too great, but we ain't going anywhere. We're going to still be in there scrapping and trying to get this thing right.
Just one last one for me, and I'll turn it over. I'm curious, you mentioned before, he's beloved amongst the guys on the team, within the program altogether. What was the reaction from the guys? What kind of conversation do you have with the players about this? Because this is kind of a weird situation to have, somebody removed by the AD post game, and 2 days later he's kind of back after these things. So I'm just curious what kind of discussion you had with the players about this whole situation.
Obviously, they're not happy. I mean, they love Coach Jasper. Not happy, and former players. I mean, you're getting stuff from former. He's developed a lot of young men that are fathers and husbands and serving. I mean, just people love Coach Jasper. So not happy. But I also told him, like, hey, what I've told our team is, fortunately, I was able to sit down with Mr. Gladchuck, Chet, and we sat and talked. He's the boss. There's going to be times where things happen, when you're serving in the Navy Marine Corps, and somebody over you, an admiral or a captain or general or somebody, colonel, says something, you have to go. You can voice your opinion, then you move forward. And that was my message to our team. Hey guys, nobody likes where we're at. Nobody likes being 0-2. People aren't too happy with our offense, so this is kind of what has happened. I'm trying to fight to keep him. We'll see what happens, but it doesn't look. But if Coach Jasper's not here, obviously it crushes all of us. It's hard personally for me. I mean, I've known him for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Our wives are the best of friends. We're really close. That was hard personally. But then all my focus on our coaching staff focus, like, you know what? As bad as that was, and much as that sucked, we have to put all of our focus into getting ready for Houston. That's why I told our guys, hey, there's going to be decisions happening in life that you got to move forward. You may not agree with them, but we got to move forward. And that was my message last night, to talk to the team. We just had another meeting before this. But I told them, guys, we're going to move forward. We got to get ready. That's where we're at. I've been a coach, been leading, like I said, for many years. And I've always told this to our players, it's easy to lead when things go well. There are a lot of guys that can lead. And like I said, right now, I feel like my main job is to make sure I keep our team unified and keep our guys going together in one direction. But that was a blow to everyone. It was a big enough blow to lose. That, like I said, the loss to Air Force was a big enough blow, but the second blow was tough too. And I think just the love for Coach Jasper, just who he is and how he's affected people, is just, exploded. You know what I mean? But it's not a surprise, because anybody who knows Ivan, that's him.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Mike Creed.
I'll just go down the line. Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, the play of your two sophomores on the defensive line, Biscuit and Busick, what's impressed you the most about how they've stepped up and played in these first two games?
Well, I thought obviously we played much better on defense this game. I thought we played well. We played well enough on defense to win, and a big part of it was those two guys. Busick was a little banged up. Proud of him that he fought. They couldn't run the ball against us, and a big part of it were those two guys in there. And it always starts inside with your interior people. Obviously, Busick is more of an end, and Biscuit's a interior guy. But for their first Air Force game, playing significant minutes, I thought they did really, really well, Scott.
And how important is their play that doesn't show up in the actual statistics when they're able to tie up players and help avoid maybe a double team on Diego?
It's all about part of doing your job. Defense is all gap. Run defense is gap cancellation and gap integrity. And so a lot of times when plays break, it's because of there's not gap integrity. There's a hole, a gap that's not filled. And so you'll see linebackers make plays, and when they make those plays, a big part of it because the defensive line is able to spill things, or they're able to hold their gap so it goes exactly to the gap where linebackers come in unblocked. And so if your D-line is not able to hold their gaps, or everybody doesn't hold their gaps, run defense doesn't work.
Thank you, Coach.
Hi, Scott.
Let's go to Chris Benini at The Athletic.
Yeah, Kenny, obviously things have not been going well offensively. You talked about it, but what specifically just isn't working right now?
It's just, Air Force has always been a tough team to run the ball against. We've always struggled. Those games have always been close. I I felt like last week, I mean, we played a good Marshall team, Chris, but without the sacks, I mean, we rushed for 385. We had the ball over 42 minutes, had 92 plays. We couldn't finish. 2 weeks ago, we couldn't finish. This past week, just got overwhelmed. You have to give Air Force credit. They did a lot of good things. But I just feel like if maybe we could stay in there, because we've had those kind of games before, 10-7, 17-10, 13-10 close games, but you got to find a way to stay in there. Both teams couldn't move the ball. Special teams, to me is another part of what happened to it. Just, you probably had more special teams blunders really in the first 2 games than I can remember in all of my years of coaching. And so that stuff we have to rectify too, especially in close games. You can't have those, special teams blunders. We have to be able to move the ball. We have to be able to get first downs. Last week we could get first downs, but we couldn't score. This week we couldn't get first downs. And so it's a combination of a lot of things. A lot of it, Chris, was Air Force. You have to give them credit. And, a lot of it was our execution, but it was a combination of a lot of things.
Anything else, Chris?
Nope, that's all. Appreciate it.
Noah Trister, AP.
I'm good. My questions have been answered pretty well, I'd say.
Okay, Mitchell, Northern, SB Nation.
Yeah, I just had one. Yeah, Mitch Northam, SB Nation. Coach, you got some time to prepare for Houston now. How much of, this time between now and the Houston game is going to be, I guess, just about evaluating, the depth chart, evaluating the playbook, and kind of, how you kind of proceed in sort of the plan of attack?
Well, when you have buys, those are always the case. You're always looking at, especially we have had 2 games, and you got to go back and evaluate everything, how you're coaching, your playbook, just everything that you're doing. But I think a big part of it too for us too is a little bit of recovery. We're pretty banged up right now, and we know Houston's going to be a physical team, very athletic. And so it's a combination of that, looking at some self-analysis, some critical analysis of the first 2 games, how we can improve, and looking at all of that in depth. And the second part is we have to practice, but just being smart, just from a recovery standpoint. And then next week we'll go full go. But we'll get in really good practices this week, but we just got to be smart on what we do.
Coach, you've been teaching the same stuff for a long time with a lot of success. Talent, though, sometimes is cyclical. Is this just one of those rare occasions where it's taking a little bit longer for folks to master what you're teaching out there, because you guys have taught the same things very successfully for a long time?
Yeah, like I said, I was super encouraged. This is kind of weird to say, because the last game, it was just really hard to put those numbers together. 42 minutes possession, over 300 yards rushing, 92 plays, and you have 7 points. But then you look at you 1 for 5 in red zone. So we were moving the ball. We just weren't consistent. So we got to be more consistent. Air Force, I mean, they did a really good job. And they always do a great job against us. But they had a really good plan, a lot of variety, threw a lot of looks at a young quarterback. You know what I mean? So I think, it was a little bit of baptism by fire, so to speak, for Xavier. So some of that was going against them was that just sometimes you got to give the other people credit, man. Sometimes people are like, well, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And that there's some truth to that. But the things that Air Force did last week, that was some tough things. And most people can't do what Air Force does because, I'm sure a lot of things they do against themselves during the spring. So they get the opportunity to work on certain things and kind of tweak it. But most people don't have that opportunity to do the variety of things that Air Force does. And then people try to mimic them. Like many years, like if we play Air Force and they stop us, other people try to mimic them. And they're not as successful because they don't do it as well. And they haven't had the time to prepare, or haven't had the looks going against an option offense in the spring or camp to do that. And so I think those are the 2 biggest things. I thought the first game, Pete, I'd just be a little bit more consistent and finish, but there are some good things. And this week, I think we just got overwhelmed a little bit. But I feel like there's still opportunities. I still see some good things. a big part of it is, like I said, we don't normally play Air Force till later, and
Right.
they did a good job, man. But it's the same thing, like I said, their offense going against our defense. They couldn't move the ball either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane Roberts.
I think I'm good, actually. Everything's been answered.
Okay. Mike James.
So Coach, you come in, Xavier comes in and plays against Army as a plebe. Then here we are 2 games into sophomore season. He starts a game against Air Force. You know, traditionally those are 2 of the toughest teams you face anyways. Is the experience, even though neither really went that well, is the experience something that can kind of help, you know, kind of work on his help nerves a little bit, something you can build on now that you have it out of the way? You can kind of maybe start building something with him.
I think you hit a great point, Mike, and that is, you know, going against our defense is tough. I mean, you saw how hard Air Force had to move the ball, and him going against them is tough. But playing against Army in that environment, even though there weren't very many fans there, but it's Army, playing against Air Force at home in a capacity crowd, that's really, really tough. And the variety of looks that both of those schools provide, they do it at a precision level and execution level that other people can't duplicate. They might watch them on film, like, hey, that looks good, let's try with this. But then we'll see the speed isn't the same. They don't, you know, have all the intricate details. They don't practice it all the time, you know. And so going against them is definitely a refiner's fire. And we're hopeful that all of that will pay dividends in the future.
Well, Coach, with the change with Billy Ray, will Vaha now have ability to recruit?
Yes, so we've made that change. You know, I mean, we can't lose that spot. And so, I mean, and recruiting is critical. Like, I tell you, like after Saturday, I mean, all the things that transpired Saturday and stuff, we had a recruiting dinner that night. And I mean, recruiting continues. It never stops. It's not like, okay, let's turn it on now. It's, you know what I mean? So you're trying to put on your happiest face because, you know, these recruits, this is their life now. You know what I mean? And they're coming. This is a great visit for them. And they don't want to come around with a bunch of coaches that, you know, got scowls on their faces or, you know, frowning. But so I guess my point is, yes, because we can't lose that spot, especially going against other 2 service academies. We need everybody in all the different areas, and you got to keep going. And recruiting is always the key anyway in coaching. And you got to be able to recruit, and you got to be able to develop. Those are the keys.
So obviously Billy Ray was working with the passing game a little bit. Is there anything in particular you'll have Vaha do as far as offensive assistant, or will it be just general all around offensive assistant?
Yeah, so he's been helping out with Coach Jasper, been in there. Like, you know, when he was with University of Hawaii, he was with the O-line, you know, the first one, you know, so learning their run and shoot stuff. But we already have 2 O-line guys. So he's been running the scout team, you know, so really his job description is recruiting in the Florida area, helping out the scout team, and really anything that Coach Jasper needs. I mean, he's our computer guy and does all those kinds of things.
And lastly, for me, does it look like Ty will be able to practice this week, or do you maybe rest him some more and then try to get him practicing next week? What's your take on Ty's availability?
Well, I wasn't too encouraged when I went to our training room yesterday. There were a lot of people in there, but I was encouraged watching him walk around. So, you know, I'm hopeful. He looks much better. You know what I mean? And so we're hopeful, Wags. I just kind of wait to see what, you know, Jim, our head trainer, says, and our doctors. You know, obviously they're the professionals at it. But I was at least hopeful just watching him yesterday move around, you know, without his brace and everything. So we'll kind of see where all that ends up.
Well, that's what all of what's going on has distracted me from my own. I should have asked about Kevin Brennan and Mitch West. How do things look for them?
You know, not too good for Mitch, which is crushing, you know, that poor kid. Since he's coming, he's played phenomenal. He's one of our leaders. He's been a leader on and off the field. So it doesn't look too good for him. we're hopeful for Kevin Brennan. You know, we're still hopeful for him. And he's a great kid. He'll live in a weight room, and you know, he'll probably be doing his, I mean, not weight room, his training room, probably be doing his homework while he's getting treatment. I mean, he's that type of kid. And we're hopeful for recovery from him. But, you know, there's other young safeties that came in, played well considering the circumstance, but that didn't help losing two of our best players.